All right, good morning. Good mid-morning. Trying to get some more lives. I've got just a little bit of things to accomplish here to get this working correctly. So give me 1 second. Just want to be able to call out things live. See what we're watching. QQQ 712.17 on the monthly. Breaking out of our daily over here on the right. The 712 is my main level to watch for over under. If we can regain that and go higher, then that would be great. And if we can't, then we need to look below. So just give me 1 second. I am getting out my link to people so they can come watch. I don't know why, but I'm new, so give me a minute on that. Yeah, the QQQ, you're trading SPY, SPX, it's probably going to be about the same. SPY, that 735.63 needs to hold on a retest. You can see we hit the daily top. R1, we only close above that, or R2, about 10% of the time, so something to consider. And digest, if you're trying to make a trade. So 90% of the time we close below that level on a daily closing basis. And this is for educational purposes, not financial advice. So keep that in mind. Let me see. Just sending out some notes real quick. We will run through all the Mag 7, and if there's anything that you're wanting to see, I can do that as well. Just trade, do a little trading. I'll call out levels and you guys can make your best call out levels and statistics, and you can make your best decision. Why is that doing that? Okay, we'll just post it and see how it goes. All right. I'm going to go over this. Needs to hold on a retest on SPY 735.63. You can see we have been just consolidating there, not doing anything great. On our daily levels, that R2 is hitting and stopping. So let those know, or let that inform you of what we want to do. Let's see what happens. Perfect resistance, 738. SPX didn't quite hit the top level. Now it's all about 73.83. Trying to hold that weekly R2, but this is the test right here to me. Are we going to hold this, or are we going to chop on it all day, or are we going to go blow it? So that's my over under. If I was looking at this and just statistically speaking, how well they can perform and what they can do. So we shall see how it happens. Let me see. Okay. Let's go look at NVDA. NVIDIA looks very flat. R2's resistance really needs to hold that 199.89. Right here, yesterday's low, right off of the pivot on the monthly, the weekly in the middle, daily on the right. So smallest time frame up to a larger picture with mid-range in the middle. But we combine, and that's how we draw a very accurate picture. Apple couldn't get over the daily pivot. Looks the worst out of all of them we've looked at. Breaking down below the weekly R2. Can't get back to our first, or S2. Can't get back to S1, our first support zone. So you start looking at 278.22 on Apple. Google. Same, kind of stuck in the middle. Hit the R1, our first resistance zone on the daily over here to my right. Weekly, try to hold the pivot, but if it breaks at 365.18, you start looking down from there towards these other targets. If it can hold, maybe it can make a day for itself. Meta looks horrible. Consolidating across. 549.47 is your next target. If you're just looking at the levels. If it breaks back above 589.56, you start looking up. But right now, it doesn't look the healthiest. But we know that can all change with a tweet or a news story from Axios. They have a way of influencing the market. But I think the narrative of a deal in 2 or 3 days that has been talked about for so long could be played out, but that's usually when they want to play it the hardest, is when everybody falls asleep. And so we just use our levels and go from there. Tesla looking about the same, just dragging. Can't get out of its own way. Microsoft's had a hard sell. We know it only closes below this about 5% of the months out of 20 years analyzed, the 424.03. So we know that 95% of the time it closes above that level. So that's something to be aware of. We are extended from it. Could puke even harder. But at that point, you just play your weekly levels. So you've got 400 here as support. Next target to be 387. 400 lines up with this daily pivot. So those are things to keep in mind and see what you're looking for there. Amazon, same, underneath all the pivots. Target's 234 area on the monthly. If it can hold the 240 over here on the daily, it could probably just chop between 240 and 243. But if it starts breaking down, your larger target's going to be 234. Let me see. Go to the Qs again. QQQ, that 712.17 on the month is what you want to see. Is it resistance or does it hold? The weekly's been down to its S2. The daily is trying to break above its R2. It's using it for support. So all eyes on the Q. It is positive. And we know that it is a major leader. Let's look at the NASDAQ, the NQ futures. The same 29.38 or 388.51 almost lines up with this 29.308. So that's going to be a major on the monthly. The 29.308 is a major area to watch. And as you can see, above the weekly pivot, above the daily pivot, from these we look up to resistance. So this 29.3 area on the NQ will be a big decision point if it can get there. Right now, we're about 100 points from there, but it can do 100 points in the blink of an eye. So that's just something that if you trade the Q, you know what I'm talking about. The Dow, the dangerous Dow. I always call it the dangerous Dow. I don't know why. It's probably the most subtle of all of them. Let's see. Under monthly, under weekly, under daily pivot. So it's having a rough day. Down almost 0.4% compared to the NASDAQ is up. So when you look at that, the SPY is going to be hung in the middle somewhere. Yeah, basically flat, the S&P, because we know it's stuck between the Dow and the NASDAQ. The rut does have a little bit of influence on it, but and the Russell is positive. So if you've noticed, the rut and the Q they're kind of your higher risk baskets. They try to run together. The Dow and the Q can separate from each other. It's just how it trades on a daily basis. And when they're wanting to kind of hold the market in a level, in a zone, they will. One day you'll have a great NASDAQ day. The next day you'll have a great Dow day. They're just very good at doing that. So if you're trying to squeeze off day trades or monthly trades, this is what you're watching right here. The 709 on the Q hold, that's your day trade. For a bigger level, 712, does it get above that and take off? That's where your right or wrong level would be for that. That's the two levels I would be watching. My monthly, S1, and my daily, R2. We know it only closes above that about 90% of the time. So when you have that in mind, you know, you've got, or about 10% of the time. We know that it closes below that 90% of the time on a daily basis, on a daily closing basis. So big watch there. Might not even get to the retest. It got very close. 712.17 was the retest, 711.28. So that's almost perfect. And trading is not a game of perfect. So that's where you manage your risk. And these are the factors that you use to do it. Just as a let me see here. Give me 1 second. And you just kind of see what happens from there. Like I said, we know it's volatile. We know news stories that hit the wire can greatly influence how this market wants to move. But right now, the biggest moves that have been able to be caught are on the monthly, just because it's been so volatile. And that was a great buying opportunity yesterday. And this might be a great resistance zone today. We will have to let it play. But that is your right or wrong, that 712.36. And as you can see over here on the right, we're breaking back below that daily R2. So if it becomes resistance, you start looking down 706, then 701. Here, you're looking for that complete retrace to that target at 685. If it stays below, if it gets above, then we start looking up. So I hope that helps. And I'm going to try to get on here every day, a little bit after the open until about 10 o'clock. and just hang out with you guys and show you what I'm looking at and how I'm evaluating it. I try to post quite a bit of content around the bigger levels and what they have going on. So let me see. I honestly don't at this moment know how to chat with the viewers that are on, or I would. But if you are viewing this from my Substack, you can send me a message in there and I will look at it. If there is something you're wanting to see, I've got one here, INTU. Let's look at INTU. Not INYU. Intel. Oh, INTU, I'm sorry. Got kind of a longer term guy that's interested in this name. So let me maximize the sell and let's look at it on a longer time frame and see where we are on the daily or the yearly pivot. I'm sorry. I have to zoom way out. I don't have enough time frame. Hold on one second. Let me get there. See if it'll calculate it. Okay. Yeah, so INTU is definitely beat up, trading below the yearly pivot, our second. We always say these are support until proven otherwise. You can see it broke. It was support once, and then it broke again. Once it breaks, it becomes resistance. Resistance, resistance. That's how you trade it. So above 422 is a spot for that, but let me jump out a little farther and just see how it, you can see it's had some very rough years where it trades way below its pivots. So for me personally, I know that's a long way up there, but I have no edge unless it goes there. And I would say on my quarterly pivots, it's the same. So let me look. All right, so this is the only edge that you have, and we're almost there. 283, 278 or so. The low is 283, which is covering up my bubble, but 277.45. Tim, if you're watching, that can be the area to buy, but I will get that to you. All right, I'm going to end this live and jump over on my Substack stream just so I can interact a little better. And I will figure this out to where I can interact with you much better. But when I look at the charts, that's just where we are currently. I go to the daily, the weekly, the monthly, and just show you what we need to do and how we need to do it. So let me go back to QQQ. Let's see what it's doing. For the day, it's green, of course, because it is the Q. Q don't like to be red. This market doesn't like the Q to be red. The SpaceX IPO, you know, they're raising money for that. AI IPO. So things to keep in mind. Watch your levels and trade them wisely. You know the percentages. And if not, come to our Substack and you will see them. My link is in the bio.